You're lying in bed. The room is pitch black. You know nothing is there. You checked. The door's locked. You're an adult. You pay taxes, and yet some animal part of you is dead certain that if you let one foot hang off the edge of the bed, something is going to grab it. So you pull it back under the covers, fast, like the floor just turned to lava. You, a grown human, terrified of a room you've walked through 1,000 times, just because someone turned off the light. Here's the strange part. The dark can't actually hurt you. Darkness is just what's left when the light leaves the room. It has no teeth, so why does your body react like it does? Why the racing heart? Why the held breath? Because your body knows something your calendar forgot. For almost the entire story of being human, the dark was the most dangerous thing in the world. Night was when you died. And that fear didn't leave when we invented the light bulb. It just went quiet. It's still in there. Right now. Tonight. And the deepest reason of all is so old it's baked into 3 things you can't control. How you sleep, how your kids act the moment the lights go out, and a little alarm deep in your skull that never, ever switches off. Stick around for that one. We saved it for the end. But first, let's clear one thing up because it changes everything. You are not actually afraid of the dark. Think about it. Nobody's scared of a dark closet in the middle of the day, with the door wide open. You're not afraid of the darkness itself. You're afraid of what the darkness hides. The dark isn't a thing. It's a hiding place. So here's a better way to see it. The dark is the moment your single best survival tool, your eyes, gets switched off. And you're left standing there, exposed, in a world that didn't switch off with it. And this fear isn't one clean thing. It got pressed into us in layers, one bad night stacked on the last, for millions of years. One layer is your eyes. One is what was hunting them in the dark. And the deepest one is still running behind your face tonight. So let's turn the lights off and go back, way back. To the first night that ever scared us, here's the first thing you need to understand about yourself. You are a day creature. Full stop. Every part of you, your eyes, your body clock, your color vision, was built to run in daylight. Your eyes are built for color, for detail, for reading a face across a room. In bright light, you're one of the best seeing animals alive. But the sun goes down, and all of that just quietly stops working. Look at a nocturnal hunter's eyes. A cat, a leopard, an owl. They have a mirror at the back of the eye that bounces light back through, so they squeeze twice the vision out of almost nothing. That's why their eyes glow when a light hits them in the dark. You don't have that mirror. Nothing behind your eyes glows. So when the light drops, you don't get a night vision upgrade. You get to squint, panic, and stub your toe on the same chair you've owned for 6 years. You just go half blind and start bumping into furniture. 100,000 years of evolution, and you still can't find the bathroom at 3 in the morning. And your brain hates this. Because your brain runs almost entirely on your eyes. Take away sight, and it's suddenly flying blind, in a body that can't run fast, can't smell well, and can't hear a predator hold its breath. So what does a nervous brain do when it loses its main sense? It doesn't relax. It assumes the worst. Every creak becomes a footstep. Every shadow becomes a shape. It would rather scare you 100 times for nothing than miss the one time it's real. And here's the thing, that is not a bug. That's the whole point, because for millions of years, the one time it was real was the only time that mattered. Now let's talk about who you were sharing the darkness with, because you weren't alone out there, not even close. Think about the animals that hunted our ancestors. Leopards, lions, hyenas. Almost all of them do their best work at night. And it's not a coincidence. The dark isn't just something they tolerate. The dark is their weapon. A leopard can see you in near total darkness. It can move without a sound. It doesn't need the lights on. It doesn't need to find the switch. It just needs you to close your eyes. It can wait perfectly still for an hour, watching a sleeping camp. And you, the daytime animal, cannot see it at all. Picture that for a second. There is an animal 20 feet away that can see you perfectly. And you're staring into the same darkness and seeing nothing but black. Nature never dealt a worse hand than that. One of you is hunting, one of you is blind. It's the worst game of hide and seek ever invented, and you're it every single night. So for your ancestors, sundown wasn't cozy. Sundown was the start of the most dangerous 12 hours of the day, and they knew it. Every night the math was brutally simple. The light is gone. Our eyes are useless. Theirs are perfect. So we get small, we get quiet, and we pray the dark stays empty. And most nights it did, but not every night. And your brain is descended from the ones who never, ever assumed it would. But here's where it gets worse. And this is a detail most people never hear. We didn't just live in a dangerous world at night. We voluntarily made ourselves easier to eat. Look at our closest relatives, a chimp, an orangutan, a gorilla. Every single night they build a fresh nest to sleep in, usually up in the trees, off the ground, out of reach. It's the oldest safety rule there is. Sleep where the big cats can't easily follow. But somewhere along the way, our ancestors did something strange. We came down. We started sleeping on the ground, out in the open, on the exact level where every ground predator hunts. On paper, that is a catastrophically bad idea. It's like deciding to take a nap in the middle of a highway. So why on earth would we do that? Part of the answer is that we got taller and heavier, and flimsy tree nests stopped working. But the bigger answer is the one thing that finally made sleeping on the ground survivable. We found a way to make the ground safe. We found a way to push the dark back. That one move, learning to hold the dark back, is why you're the kind of animal that builds cities instead of nests. Because the moment we could defend the night, we didn't just survive it. We started to own it. Here's where the story turns. At a place called Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, there's evidence of controlled fire from around 1 million years ago. And fire did something no claw, no muscle, no scream ever could. It pushed the dark back. Think about what a fire actually is to a small, blind, ground-sleeping ape. It's a bubble of daylight you can carry into the night. Inside that ring of light, your eyes work again. You can see the shapes. You can see the eyes at the edge. And just as important, the predator can see the fire. And most of them want nothing to do with it. So for the first time in the whole story, the thing in the dark was the one that had to be nervous. The leopard still owned the shadows, but it didn't own the fire. And around that fire, something happened that had nothing to do with staying alive. An anthropologist named Polly Wiessner spent decades with the Juhwanzi people in the Kalahari, recording how they actually talk, and she found something strange. In the daytime, people talked about ordinary things, work, food, who's annoying who. But at night, around the fire, the talk completely changed. At night, they told stories. They talked about people who weren't there, about spirits, about the past, about the imagination. The daylight was for surviving, but the firelight was for becoming human. So the fire didn't just guard us from the dark, it turned the most dangerous hours of the day into the hours where we invented stories, gods, and each other. Those late-night stories were the first hard drive humanity ever had. But there was still a stretch of the night the fire couldn't cover. The hours when everyone was supposed to be asleep. And evolution had a fix for that too. So here's a question you've probably never asked. When your whole family is asleep in the dark, who's watching the door? For most of history, the answer could not be nobody. A group of humans all sleeping deeply at the same time in the open is just a buffet that hasn't been served yet. So researchers had a theory. What if we were never all supposed to be asleep at once? It's called the Sentinel hypothesis. And in 2017, a team led by David Sampson decided to actually test it. They went to the Hadza hunter-gatherers in Tanzania and put sleep trackers on a whole camp. Then they watched 20 nights of real human sleep. And what they found is hard to believe. Across those 20 nights, the number of minutes when every single person was asleep at the same time was about 18. Not 18 hours, 18 minutes total. For basically the entire night, every night, somebody was awake. And it wasn't a guard duty roster. Nobody was assigned anything. It happened naturally because people fall asleep and wake up on different schedules. The teenagers stayed up late because teenagers always have. The older adults woke up in the small hours and couldn't get back to sleep because that's what older bodies do. And between the night owls and the early risers, the camp was almost never fully undefended. Now sit with what that means for you. That grandparent who's up at 4 a.m. making tea, that teenager who won't go to sleep before 1, your own 3 a.m. wake-up where you just lie there, alert, for no reason. Your family isn't dysfunctional. It's a security roster nobody remembers signing up for. You've been calling that a sleep problem. It might be a 2-million-year-old security system. Your insomnia isn't broken, it's ancient. So the next time you're staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning for absolutely no reason, relax. You just got promoted to night watch. There's no pay, and nobody is going to thank you. And it's still standing guard against a leopard that stopped coming for us 100,000 years ago. Which brings us to the last layer. The one we saved for the end. Because here's the twist that ties all of this together. The predators are gone. The fire is electric now. The camp is a locked apartment. But the fear never got the memo. Deep in your brain, there's a small, ancient alarm called the amygdala. Its entire job is to spot a threat and hit the panic button before the thinking part of you even knows what's happening. It's a piece of survival software written 2 million years ago, and nobody ever pushed an update. It's fast, it's old, and it does not wait for proof, and it is especially tuned to the dark. Watch a young child, somewhere between about 6 and 12. Almost all of them go through a phase of being afraid of the dark. Nobody teaches them this. You don't sit a toddler down and explain leopards. The fear just arrives on schedule like it was installed, because it was. And notice what we're afraid of, even in a modern bedroom. Not electrical outlets, not cars, not the actual things that hurt people today. We're afraid of shapes in the dark, of things under the bed, of something with eyes and teeth. Your brain learns to fear snakes and darkness in a single bad moment, but it takes forever to learn to fear a power socket. Because one of those threats was stalking your ancestors for millions of years, and the other one is younger than your grandmother. So this is the real answer to the whole question. You're not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of what used to be in it. The predators left. But the fear was too useful to delete. So it stayed. It moved off the savannah, and it moved into your head. And every time you feel it, you're not being childish. You're running a program that kept every single one of your ancestors alive long enough to make you. Now let's be honest for a second, because it matters. Statistically, the dark is safe for you now. The hallway at night is not going to eat you. Nothing is under the bed. Your fear, most of the time, is a smoke alarm going off because you made toast. But here's the thing about a smoke alarm. You don't rip it off the wall because it's usually wrong. You keep it because of the one time it isn't. For 2 million years, that alarm was right often enough to be worth every false alarm. And that is why you still have it. The people who felt nothing in the dark, who strolled out into the black without a care, they were statistically less likely to become someone's ancestor. The nervous ones lived. You are the descendant of the ones who are afraid. So the next time you're lying in bed, and the room is pitch black, and you get that urge to pull your foot back under the covers, don't laugh at it. That flinch is older than your language. It's older than your country. It's older than farming or writing or the wheel. It's a message passed down an unbroken line of survivors, every one of whom made it through the night. And the message is simple. Stay alert. Stay alive. See you in the morning. That fear in the dark isn't a weakness in you. It's the oldest, most loyal bodyguard you will ever have. It has never once taken a night off. And it's still standing watch over you, right now, tonight. So the next time you walk into a dark room and feel the hair rise on the back of your neck, remember what it is. That's not fear making you weak. That's 2 million years of survivors, still whispering the same thing. Something's out there. Be ready. That's you. That's what you are. The most dangerous thing in the dark. That never stopped listening for something more dangerous. If you made it to the end, tell me one thing in the comments. What's the first thing you check when you walk into a dark room?